Good evening and happy Monday and way to go U.S. women's team. We are starting, well, we as in me and my multiple personalities are starting a Google Hangout tonight to talk about day one of the Scott Fish Bowl drafts. I had an interview earlier today with Scott Fish because he is nocturnal. He works at night, so he's not available during the days time we can talk. Anyhow, what I was going to do while I wait for anyone to show up, because I have invited the entire Scott Fish Bowl, 360 people. So if you have a party and you invite 360 people, you just don't know what you're going to get. So what I thought I would do to start the show out is get started on the project itself, the interviews, and then we can get into the actual drafts that started at noon today. And we have one that I believe is all the way into the 4th round. So in any case, Scott Fish Bowl. Scott started this project in 2010, and I think he initially invited 120 people and has grown to this year's pool of 360. So out of the 360, there will be one grand champion, but each of the 360 owners are in a 12-team division. There are 5 conferences, of which have 5 12-team divisions, and each of them has a Will Ferrell theme. The interesting parts about these kind of leagues is that this is a quarterback flex league, and it's also a super flex league in that you have 11 starting positions, and they are basically quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end. No defense, no kicker. Let's just say that's a good thing. But it allows you to have a flexible draft plan. So if you want to go quarterback crazy early, you can. If you want to stack up on running backs because they get 0.25 points per rush attempt, that's a possible advantage. You get PPR on receivers, which gives them a bit of a boost, relatively speaking, and some of those pass-catching running backs, and then the tight ends. No boost. Scott talked about doing a tight end premium, which means 1.5 per catch for tight ends, which would definitely boost that skill. So I will quickly say that I am in the Spider Monkey division of the Talladega Nights Conference. I had pick number 11, and I went with Marshawn Lynch and Rob Gronkowski, which I believe Nathan Powell also did. I think there were actually 3 owners who made that around the turn kind of pick. So what I'm going to do next, while and if I wait for other people, and if this ends up being a solo show, don't get anybody to come in to chat, then I will probably shoot this down a little bit early, but we'll see how it goes. Give everybody a chance to come in post-dinner or during dinner. But in any case, I'm going to share the current drafts and do a little commentary on each one. So let's do that. So what we have now is the Scott Fish Bowl. This is actually, not sure which division this is. Let me go ahead and click. So we're in, take a look across the top. You'll see the divisions, the conferences, Zoolander, Step Brothers, Anchorman, Old School, Talladega Nights, and SNL Ferrell. In fact, let me go ahead and click on Zoolander so I can start there. And now we have a list of all the drafts that are going on. So I'm going to go ahead and enter the first one here. As you can see here, we got the Blue Steel, Magnum, Hansel, Mugatu, and Maury Ballstein division. I saw Zoolander, but it was a while back. At least I've seen this movie. There are a couple on here that I don't get all the references, so that's the way it goes. So the first league we have, you can see that a couple of running backs went early, taking advantage of the 0.25 points. Andrew Luck going number 3. You're not going to see Luck go much lower than that in these leagues because of the fact that you can start 2 quarterbacks. And Andrew Luck's the it guy. Most of the people in this league, I would call them sharks. So they are kind of on the edge of what strategies are right now. Despite that, it's still Andrew Luck's 2014 season that's really pushing people to take him. He went from a 23 touchdown guy to a 40 touchdown guy with running ability, playing the AFC South, playing the NFC South this year. That is a clear advantage. early on. But Aaron Rodgers also will go early. I'm not sure. He was pretty close to that point total as well. Do remember that quarterbacks get 4 points for passing touchdown in this league. So running quarterbacks get a bit of an advantage. And hey, Andrew Luck, Aaron Rodgers usually run last, but they will run. So this is the first division, Blue Steel. I'm going to go ahead and click on Magnum. And if there's nothing too crazy about these leagues, I'll probably move through them fairly quickly. You'll see in this the Magnum division, which, hey, who wouldn't want to be in the Magnum division? Starts with Aaron Rodgers. So interesting start above Andrew Luck, and you see Andrew Luck goes number 4. You're going to see lots of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell early. And I'm kind of surprised that Adrian Peterson isn't gone yet. 8 picks off the board in this division. So moving on to the Hansel division, so Jamal Charles goes number 1 in this league, but in the Magnum division, 8 picks in, he hasn't even been taken yet. So you can see how these things do it a little bit different. You see the quarterbacks going 4 and 6. And also adding to that quarterback thing is that Russell Wilson is kind of the next guy, and he'll probably won't go until the 2nd or 3rd round. And then after him is a pretty big drop. So you want to, when there's a big drop between positions, you obviously take a guy early, kind of like how Gronk has a big advantage over every other position, every other tight end that there is. We move on next to the, where are we here? The Mugatu division, and we're going to look at this now. Look, this is a division that's actually made some progress. Look at that. We're all the way down to the 3rd round. And check out the Jeremy Hill, Justin Forsett at the turn. That's a pretty good. The 2-3 turn looks really, really good, especially when 2 to 3 quarterbacks get thrown in there. So everybody basically drops down a level from where they are before. So in this division, you see it goes 4 running backs out of 5, and then the 2 quarterbacks get out of the way. And receivers actually drop a little bit. I mean, you get Antonio Brown at number 8. You feel like you've turned pretty well for yourself. And one guy to bring up here, LeSean McCoy at pick 11. I think in the Shark world, LeSean McCoy's kind of dropping because he doesn't have the offensive line he had in Philadelphia. But he's going to get a lot of touches. And the touches are important here, especially the carries when you get a point for every 4 carries. So that's a big thing. We'll end up here with the Maury Ballstein division. Ballstein, oh, who cares? Another time where Aaron Rodgers goes above Andrew Luck. And in fact, Andrew Luck goes number 8, and it looked like the 9th guy went ahead and said, you know what, the blubberfish, the bubblefish, a little bit of wine, but that's okay. He goes number 9, probably the earliest he'll go in all 30 of these drafts. But you can see the love of quarterback is real. And all 3 of these guys are going to go early and have rushing ability, which is very important. And you got to love Andrew Bowman, Fantasy Acumen's comment on Andrew Luck. Fuck me with a tire iron. Holy fuck balls. I mean, come on. Where else are you going to get such amazing commentary and these kind of things? I'm going to go over to the Step Brothers division. And just to remind everybody that I am going to do interviews with every single person in these leagues. All 360. I'm going to be coming after you like somebody who's trying to get a summons to somebody, serve papers. I have so far to date only sent out interview requests for Anchorman and Talladega Nights. The rest of you, trust me, I'll get to you soon. So we're on to Step Brothers, which is pretty much showing on basic cable constantly, and I have to say, not terribly blown away by this. What I am blown away is in the Boats and Hose division, another quality name. No quarterbacks taken, 8 picks in, kind of surprising. But you see the top running backs getting out of the way early. Le'Veon Bell, Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson, and Eddie Lacy. Those 4 are probably gone pretty early with the running back boost and the fact that there is a bit of a drop-off. But you go to the next division, Catalina Wine Mixer, notice Jim Day. Hey, Jim Day is still alive. He took Andrew Luck, number 2. Let's see if the man, the myth, the legend. So Scott Fish got Jamal Charles at pick number 6. You're in a pretty good spot there the first half of the first round. And you can see Gronkowski going 10, you see Odell going 11. Move on to the Prestige Worldwide Division. You just feel a little too formal here. You scroll down a little bit. We're actually in the second round of this division. See, guys like C.J. Anderson and Arian Foster are probably going to be mid-second round guys in most of these drafts. But we'll kick on over to the Nuts on Drum Set division. Hey, at least I remember that part of the movie. We are, look at this, scroll, 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 all the way down to the third round. So this is where people start jumping on that. Maybe second tier quarterbacks. You see Russell Wilson goes, actually Russell Wilson and Cam Newton going to Eric Dickens at the 2-3 turn. Looks like he's taken advantage of his first overall selection. He gets a stud running back in Le'Veon Bell, albeit a stud running back who might not play all 12 regular season games before the playoffs start. But when he's playing, you have an advantage. And taking the third and fourth quarterbacks there at the 2-3 turn is good. You have to pick your poison in this league. And the fact that it's a flexible kind of league means you can get a ton of running backs or a ton of wide receivers or even start multiple tight ends. Maybe you can get Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, and even Travis Kelce, 3 out of your first 4 picks, and just crush that spot. So to see a little further is interesting. Wondering where people are going to take guys like Drew Brees and Peyton Manning, who are kind of sliding in redrafts. But in this league, you got to get quarterbacks. It's going to be tough when you're starting Josh McCown and Matt Castle as your 2 quarterbacks. So, and there are going to be people who do that. There's going to be a big rush for Alex Smith, like in the 9th round. Trust me, this is how it's going to end up. Move on to the Shark Week division, the final division of Step Brothers. Don't think there's going to be a sequel for that, but who knows? Another Andrew Luck, number 1, taking the quarterback, getting that out of the way. Remember, when you have to turn, you have a long way between picks, so you kind of have to reach no matter what you do. And once again, the receivers start going hot and heavy as you get toward the end of the first round and beginning of the second round. And you see Calvin Johnson fall to 2-6, and you're like, where are we? Did he get an arm or a leg amputated? Was he involved in those shark attacks off North Carolina? Because it's just crazy to see him down that low. But hey, the injuries have concerned people. He is like 30, like 11 years younger than me, so he's ancient. I'm going to scroll on over to the Anchorman, and please, people, you can join. Come on in. Let me know if you want to join. I'm going to go look at Hootsuite real quick just to see if anybody wants. No, nothing. That's what I thought. So Anchorman, I have actually sent out interview requests for this division. So I'd say about 2 to 3 people per division have actually sent in their answers back. So it's a reminder, zach.law@gmail.com. Hit me up. So in this league, Adrian Peterson, number 1. Hard to say that's a bad choice. Antonio Brown, Aaron Rodgers, Andrew Luck, again, top 2 quarterbacks in the top 4 picks. Only early in the second round. And Marshawn Lynch in a regular redraft is probably a late first round pick, but you might be able to get him in the second in this kind of league. So this is the Dorothy Mantooth division. We'll move on to I Love Lamp, and who doesn't? Once again, Andrew Luck, number 2, Aaron Rodgers, number 3. Once you get that advantage at a certain position, and Kyle, in his interview, did mention that he was going to go quarterback early. So we need the 3rd pick. If you think the quarterback's like the 6th best guy, but you have the 3rd pick, well, go ahead and take him. Just get that out of the way. Would you be personally upset if you were put in the I Love Lamp division over the Sex Panther division? Well, I might. So this is the probably one and only league in which Julio Jones goes first, and it does seem like he puts up pretty solid numbers when the injuries aren't hitting. And in this case, it seems like everybody waited on quarterback. Only 5th and 7th overall did quarterbacks go. And look at that, Adrian Peterson lasts till the 10th pick. That's pretty impressive. Next pick, Glass Case of Emotion, which is what we're all feeling as we wait for our pick to show up. Picks 2 and 3 again, Luck and Rodgers. They are very popular these days. And you can see second round, those running backs come in, the kind of older running backs that you think, man, those aren't going to be those guys where everybody goes top 10 busts of 2014. The old running backs finally died. or finally their fantasy value died, because otherwise it's not a funny joke. Let's move on to the escalated quickly division. This is a funny name for a division when we have a really slow draft. Apparently Matt Riddle is in the midst of some kind of personal crisis because he isn't around for this pick. So look at that, 4 picks done so far. So step it up. Everybody, FF Riddle, I believe, is his Twitter handle. So get on that and tell him what to do. So let's move on to the old school. I think I initially said there were 5 conferences. There are actually 6. So let's get, this is the 3rd or 4th division here. The We're Going Streaking division that actually is moved to the 3rd round, which is nice. So you can start seeing guys like Mike Evans. You're like, Mike Evans in the early 3rd. Oh, what a dream. Alshon Jeffrey, end of the 2nd. Jeremy Hill, LaShawn McCoy. It's just so pretty. And it's mainly because people are not taking. You can even scroll down and pick your quarterbacks. Only 3 taken so far, so look at that. And isn't it nice to be in a fantasy league where you only have 4 positions to worry about? It's so great. It just makes my day, makes my life. You're my boy, Blue. Really not unusual. We are waiting for Clayton Gray to wake up from his nap, and then we'll maybe get into the 2nd round on this one. Earmuffs division. Once again, a lot of these drafts, 1st round, mid to late 1st round. These did start at noon, so the fact that it's 8 o'clock and a lot of people actually work during the day and don't check their Twitter every 5 seconds like me, well, they're not going to make their picks. So the Frank the Tank division, which may actually include the real Frank the Tank, is into the late 2nd round. Look at that again. C.J. Anderson, late 2nd. DeMarco Murray going there. Drew Brees, maybe early for that quarterback, but people say he's done. I don't know about that. I would be more worried about Peyton Manning just because it looked like he couldn't throw the ball more than 5 yards downfield at the end of the year. Quad injury or no quad injury. Sounds like an excuse to me. We are in the Mitch-a-Palooza division. I have to say, old school, I liked their Animal House vibe, but they had to have this kind of happy ending, and that's not what Animal House was all about. Counterculture and old school is all about kind of lazy comedy at the end. Just my opinion. So in this one you can see, look, you're in the mid-3rd round and you're thinking, I got to get a quarterback. So Cam goes, Matt Ryan goes, Peyton Manning goes. I mean, we're talking 5 quarterbacks in the 3rd round. They're going to be crazy quarterback runs, so if you're at the turn and you see a chance, you might have to just go for it. And Jimmy Graham late 3rd, not bad. Not bad. I still believe. We're going to move to another division that I've sent interview requests to, the Talladega Nights. We got about getting close to half of the people have actually responded. So we're going to get to the Shake and Bake division. As you can see, Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Pittsburgh all the way. Nice to see you can get some value out of Roethlisberger a little bit later. But again, Russell Wilson going in the 1st round. Once you get past those first 2 quarterbacks, there's a drop. You can see Russell Wilson goes 9th overall, and then a round later, still no quarterbacks off the board in addition to him. Not first or last. I actually like Talladega Nights. Not sure about the rewatchability, but definitely the Spider Monkey scene is quality stuff. Another Antonio Brown #1. If you guys going to get 180 targets, you like that. In this case, Aaron Rodgers drops to #8. And you can see where you can get a Demaryius Thomas and Gronk at the turn. That's pretty solid. And Calvin, of course, early 2nd round. Seems like blasphemy. Spider Monkey division. This is the division I'm in. So Eddie Lacy #1, which might be the only time he was taken that early. Once again, you like a guy, you got to take him. You're not going to get a chance at those elite running backs by the end of the 2nd round, most likely. So in this league, you can see I had the 11th pick, and I took Marshawn Lynch and Gronkowski. And the question is, does the advantage of running at tight end help me that much? Because I'm going to struggle with that 2nd running back and 1st wide receiver pick And you can just see all those wide receivers going and me crying, seeing the fact that Demaryius Thomas and Odell Beckham go in the middle of the second round, Jordy Nelson going that late, A.J. Green, Mike Evans, Alshon Jeffrey. All these guys I'm never going to have on my roster because I just had to have the wonderful Marshawn Lynch and Gronk. And if you ever see the two of them playing the video game with Conan O'Brien, look that thing up. That's a funny video. That's not safe for work or probably anything. It's pretty rough. So we moved on to the That Just Happened division. So we have Andrew Luck, number one again. Man, I'm still mad at the Colts fans. You know, Peyton Manning, and then he gets hurt, and they have one crappy year, and they get Andrew Luck. And the Titans get Mariota, who apparently wants to serve. Sounds fair to me. In this case, I haven't seen quarterback go 1-2, but 1-3 is about as close as you're going to get. Once again, somebody's got to drop when quarterbacks go early. So Adrian Peterson gets to the middle of the round. Des Bryant at the end of the first is pretty solid. I mean, Odell Beckham, seeing where he goes. C.J. Anderson, another feels like boomer bust the way he played at the end of last year, and then everybody remembers how awesome Monty Ball looked at the end of 2013. So we'll see. I still think he has more talent. You like seeing a bunch of pre-drafts in the way, like we're just about things are going to happen. And the number one current division in the Scott Fish Bowl has to be the Go Fast division. We're 408. Although I'm not sure what to say about Carlos Hyde. I don't have had the feels for him. Frank Gore either. I just don't think he's going to make it through the year. I know guys have defied you for years, and then one of these years they're not going to be able to make it. Once again, quarterback first and third. Le'Veon Bell drops to number 7, which is pretty amazing. You get Russell Wilson at the end of the first. You go for the Seattle 2-step. So don't worry about that bye week. Still like Arian Foster. I know these old guys are kind of boring in a draft, but the young guys don't always do that much for you, especially those hot rookies and sophomores. Look at that. Mark Ingram in the early third with 3 quarterbacks off the board. Interesting pick, but he should get a ton of carries for the Saints. But you can see, I mean, Giovanni Bernard's already off the board. Melvin Gordon's off the board. Tons and tons of guys. You can see Jimmy going to the 4th. Usually Jimmy Graham's a 3rd-round guy. So with all these quarterbacks, obviously he's slipping. So we're going to go to the SNL, Saturday Night Live, Farrell, the final conference of tonight. And once I get through this, doesn't look like I'm getting any little friends to join me. So we may just cut this short and try to schedule some time with people to talk later in the week. Because this draft, probably maybe a week and a half, that should be over. And then we can kind of do a post-mortem and see how teams do. And then we play the Neo and Matrix game and try to avoid those injuries. Because you know you can avoid injuries just about as well as you can avoid the bullet. Andrew Luck again, number 3 and 5 on quarterbacks here. Russell Wilson in the first, apparently not as crazy as initially looked. DeMarco Murray, interesting to see how many touches he gets this year. Philadelphia just loves to run the ball, so why shouldn't he get another 300 touches this year at least? Would not be terribly surprising, and to be successful doing it. And knowing his injury history and the way the Eagles are pretty good with injuries, you think they're going to be able to handle him pretty well and know when to give him a breather. So Andrew Luck, number 2 this time. Jamal Charles, number 1. Loving those running backs. Seems running back and quarterback go in most. And look at that, Aaron Rodgers down to number 9, which is kind of a surprise. In the Suckett Trebek division. Look that up on YouTube also, another quality. In fact, I think all the Saturday Night Live Will Ferrell skits are going to give you some good laughs. As you can see one more time, 4 running backs taken in the top 5 here. And in fact, Andrew Luck going number 6, kind of a drop. Gronk at the end of the first. Here's another division that's made its way through. Look at this. We're in the 4th round, and Travis Kelce is off the board. Ryan Tannehill at the end of the 3rd. You're going to see quarterbacks going in rounds that make you a little crazy, but that's just the way, as they would sing. And I'm not going to tonight because I respect you. That's just the way it is. The Bill Brasky division. Let's see how far we've gotten. I'll try not to scroll and make people dizzy too much. So Calvin Johnson in the second, 2.8. Oh, Marshawn Lynch at 2.7. Oh, that hurts just to look at. Peyton Manning and Russell Wilson. Again, this is the second owner that I've seen pull off the second, third quarterback. Actually, this is the end of the first. Sorry. You go quarterback. If you want to be crazy, be like Brian, a.k.a. the street free agent, who took 3 straight quarterbacks in a quarterback flex league that we did a few weeks ago. Because he drafts drunk, and at least he admits it, unlike some people. So this is the last division we have to look at. Once again, Adrian Peterson the first. Hard to believe that they won't give him just a ton of touches. First 2 quarterbacks go early, as usual. You see Demaryius Thomas go at the end of the first, and even if Peyton is done, he's going to throw to Demaryius a ton, and they have great chemistry, so it'll probably be okay for at least Demaryius Thomas to get another 90, 100 catches. He just does that every year. It doesn't matter who he has. So as you see again, mid-second, feels like Matt Ryan's a reach, but would Liz Loza ever reach? No, she just doesn't do that. So Drew Brees going, AJ Green in the second. So that's a look at the divisions and kind of how they're going so far. As you can see, we've had some really quality movement, especially in these divisions where the draft has gone from first to fourth round. We're talking about almost 48 to 50 picks made in an 8.5 hour period. That's pretty quality stuff. So that is Scott Fish Bowl in a nutshell. I'm going to go ahead and kind of wrap things up. So here's what's happening, unless somebody wants to come and join me, because I'd rather talk to somebody than talk to myself. It's enough of that. So earlier today, I interviewed Scott Fish, and I will post that link on Twitter. You can always go to my YouTube channel, just look up Zach Law and find the Scott Fish interview, which happened earlier today. This will be up as soon as I'm finished, and I'll post the link as well. And just go to Zach Law online and find all my interviews. I'm going to be sending more interviews possibly midweek. Try to get all the interviews out while people are drafting, and then once the draft is done, could do another hangout and just get together and talk about strategy from people. Did you have a certain strategy going in? Did you make changes as you went? Did you just go best player available and then have to make adjustments as time went? Note that this is a 22-round draft. You do have to set your lineups. This isn't a best ball league. So you have to do that. There are a lot of flex positions, 11 positions, 11 starting positions out of the 22. And there are waivers, but there are no trades. So you have to make a little bit of during the season movement, which I know isn't very popular with DFS being what it is these days. But in any case, find the interviews on my site. I'll keep posting them every day, just updating the master Scott Fish Bowl site, so you can click on each division and look at it and see where, see what people have answered, see who the cool people are and who the cool people aren't. And I will be sending reminders as time goes on. So this is the big event right now that's happening. It's involving an insane number of people. You got 360, 270 are experts, people who are right for fantasy sites or like me, right for their own site, and then 90 fans. In some cases, these fans have written for sites. In some cases, they're just obsessed fantasy fans. In some cases, we have a few of the high-stakes players who are just deciding to try another kind of league. Now, Scott Fish also sent me a link for another kind of league, which is actually 4 12-team leagues, and then they kind of stack up, kind of like a English Premier League, where you get relegated and you get promoted as seasons go. And there's actually money behind that, and I believe it's best ball too, which is kind of nice. And you get to redraft your team from scratch every year and change divisions as you move up and down. So we're gonna, I think that's good for now. So the Scott Fish Bowl, 360, so 30 divisions are going on. Just look at that hashtag there, SFB360, to keep the updates going. As usual, I will post my picks as I make them, because that's just how I am. I'm getting kind of hot in this hat, so I'm going to say to everybody, this time I'm just going to go back to my old farewell. Good night and good luck.